This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell.
Believe that.
Presented by PWFempire.com with your hosts,
Steven,
Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live. Thank you all for tuning in this Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on PWFempire.com and YouTube.com/PWF Empire. I am Jay, and tonight on the hosting panel we have Steven, or I'm not too sure if this is Steven. I will get into that later on in the show, but I don't know who this guy is. I know his lower third says Steven, but are you sure that that's you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's me. Taking shots already, huh? We didn't even get into it yet.
Oh yeah, because I'm prepared. I'm ready to go because, look, we have the road to WrestleMania to talk about tonight. Some of us would consider this to be a pretty rocky road to WrestleMania. Others, they have different opinions. I guess we'll get into those opinions tonight. We have some new matches on the card. We have a new stipulation to one of the big matches on WrestleMania. A lot of stuff to discuss. We would love it if you guys join in on that conversation with us. No matter where you are watching or listening right now, there are a variety of ways for you to interact with PWF Empire Live. You can do so on the live chat on YouTube. You can do so in the comments on PWFempire.com. Also on Twitter with the hashtag PWF Empire, because as always, the conversation continues on and off air. Let's go ahead and get that conversation started with the road to WrestleMania. Now, here's the thing. If you were to ask me my thoughts on the road to WrestleMania, I would say the road to WrestleMania has been a hot-ass mess. WWE didn't just hit a speed bump on Monday Night Raw. They hit a speed bump, then they ran over a damn pothole, and then when their tire blew out from running into the pothole, they swerved to avoid a deer on the road to WrestleMania, and then they ended up careening off the side of a cliff.
Oh,
that
come on.
is
That
a
is
summary.
That is such overblown hyperbole. I can't. How are you going to defend that? I mean, okay, you could say it's not as good as you'd like it to be, but man, you making it sound really bad. I don't.
It is really bad.
Defense of this, but I don't.
No, see, here's the thing. You're not about to flip the script on me and say that I am the one that's in the defensive position. You are in the defensive position, because we were talking before the show, and Steven was like, I'm liking the road to WrestleMania. They have some solid feuds going in, and, this is nice stuff. Here's the thing. WWE, for these last few weeks, could have put up a gone fishing sign for the entirety of Monday Night Raw, and that would have been more effective building towards WrestleMania than the bullshit that we're getting on TV.
Same show, man? I don't.
Apparently not. You need to give me the hookup. I want to know what show you're watching. Because, it's not Monday Night Raw.
I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest thing ever, because it's not. I'm willing to say it's pretty good. I'm entertained by it on a weekly basis. I think all the feuds are solid. I think all the matches are solid. And maybe you have such a high standard for WrestleMania, which I can understand with the way they hype it up. But these days, I don't have this golden standard for WrestleMania anymore. I'm content with just pretty good, and I feel like it's been just.
And are you not sad by that? Are you not deflated because you don't have a high standard for WrestleMania? Like, how did you arrive to this point?
It's been a long time since I've arrived at this point, and it probably started. Who knows how? Probably Miz versus Cena. That's probably when I said, okay, WrestleMania, not exactly what it used to be. But I think the feuds are solid. I don't know. I could run down the feuds and give you the reasons why I think they're solid. I mean, I'm more confused why you think it's so terrible. Like, I could certainly see what Evan was saying last week. He was basically saying that he thinks it could be better. It could be a lot better, which is true. Like, I'm not gonna say it can't be, but you're saying it's a hot ass mess. You give this whole analogy of a pothole and like it's not that bad, man. It's really not. How is it that bad?
It's dull, it's uninspired, and it's not creative at all. Like, I'm guessing that the WWE creative team have not had their serving of Bootio's cereal because they're booty right now. They are not creative. The WWE creative team, like, I'm not seeing anything that inspires me to feel anything for these WrestleMania matches. And when I said that they would have been more effective putting up a gone fishing sign for 3 hours every Monday, the reason being is because I watch Monday Night Raw, and the show that is there for the objective of selling me on the matches of WrestleMania, it's not accomplishing that objective. There is not one match that I'm more excited about now based off of the content that WWE is putting on every Monday. It's situations where I've been really excited for matches and I've seen what WWE has done for those matches and they've dulled that excitement. I'm sitting here and I'm going, man, I honestly don't know if I want to watch Monday Night Raw next week. And do you realize how much impact a statement like that has? The final sell for the grandest stage of them all. I don't know if I even want to watch it because the product that they're putting on, it has the opposite effect of what it should.
That's so bizarre because every segment that's on Raw these days, I think, is pretty decent. By these days, I mean ever since Roadblock, I guess. Ever since the last pay-per-view, whatever that was, Fastlane. They're not all like exciting extravaganzas, but I've seen minimal filler lately. It seems like every segment is building towards something, and I can understand that you're not excited for it. I'm not saying I'm dying to see any of these matches either. Like, I'm not constantly looking forward to Mania, and maybe we just have different standards. Maybe because you're going to WrestleMania, that's probably why the hell you're so upset by this. Because I'm just going to be watching it on TV. I don't need to worry about having a great show. I just want to...
See, it's not even necessarily about that, though. Because I'm looking at the build-up for WrestleMania and separating it from the show itself. I'm not even concerned with the quality of WrestleMania itself. Because, hell, if you want to ask me what do I think the quality of WrestleMania is going to be, WWE is going to pull a rabbit out of their hat, a rabbit out of their ass, or wherever they pull some orifice, they're going to pull a rabbit out, and they're going to put on a show. And I am quite sure I'm going to enjoy myself at that show. I will be thoroughly entertained. You know, whether WWE does it or should I have to do it myself, I will be entertained. I will get my money's worth, okay? The thing is, I'm talking about Monday Night Raw. I'm talking about in the here and now, because I mentioned this on the show last week. WrestleMania is what, 4 hours, 5 hours? We have how many episodes of Monday Night Raw leading into this one? We have all of the episodes from the month of March. We have, they call the episode of Raw after Royal Rumble the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. So you take all of those minutes, all of those hours of content, add that up, and judge, hold that up against what we get for WrestleMania. Like, I can't sit here and say, oh, because I think WrestleMania is going to be good, I'm okay with getting the bullshit that I'm getting right now. That is not a good deal for me. Not a good deal at all.
I'm not sure. How should we do this? Because I'm tempted to like run down the feuds and just go into detail, like what you think is so bad about them. But I know we got some buy or sells coming up that touch on all those things, so maybe we could just transition that way.
Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. And we're getting a comment from Anthony on Twitter. WWE usually has a certain aura about them during WrestleMania season, but I don't feel that aura is present
But I
this
hear
year.
that shit every year. And I agree, it's true, but it's just gone, guys. Like,
so you're saying we should just roll over and accept it?
It reminds me of like Christmas. Like, it feels like everyone's saying, when I was a kid, you felt an aura about Christmas with the presents. At some point, you just gotta accept, like, the aura's gone. Just enjoy fucking Christmas. It's WrestleMania.
No!
It's gonna be good.
But if the aura is part of the reason why you enjoyed it, telling people forget the aura, just enjoy it, That doesn't make any sense.
But the WWE has so many problems right now that expecting WrestleMania to have the aura is unrealistic. I'm not going to expect that aura when they're in such big trouble. I'm just going to take the little victories where I can get them, and right now I think WrestleMania is looking pretty good.
Okay. Let's see if you can alert me to some of these little victories. Let's start off with this victory here. The Intercontinental Championship match that will take place at WrestleMania. This will be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler. Oh, I wish that I could stop at Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, but we do have more names to add here. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder, Sin Cara, The Miz, and Stardust. This match was made on Monday Night Raw basically as punishment by way of Stephanie McMahon for Kevin Owens pissing her off. And yeah, we have this match here. Is this one of these small victories for WrestleMania you were talking about?
Well, look, I thought it was going to be Owens versus Zayn, so I'm disappointed. But the match that we're getting instead is not going to be bad. And I know no one's going to say it's going to be bad. Everyone's going to admit, yeah, this should be pretty good. I think we're all pretty disappointed that we're not getting Owens versus Zayn, and I can understand that because I wanted that as well, and that's the better match and the better feud. But this is, were you not entertained by this shit? This is really good.
This was absolutely terrible, and that is, you may call that another overstatement, but what I saw on Monday Night Raw, every single morsel of this was
what?
Hot.
Okay,
garbage,
so first
the
of all,
drizzling shits.
Okay, so first of all, you had Owens versus AJ Styles. Great match, right? We all agree, great match?
Really good match, really shitty ending, because it made AJ Styles look like a fool.
Okay, well, fair enough, but good match, because Owens is the part we're looking at. Then what? The backstage... Okay, well, what happened after that? Then the Miz and the other guys came down and started vying for a match. Is that what happened? I'm trying to recall.
Something like that.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? That's a standard thing. No big deal. Then he
I'm not talking about that. Like, you can try to like compartmentalize this and say, okay, well, it's two good things.
Okay,
one bad thing. This one wins.
Like that.
I did not like. Here's the thing: if I never see Kevin Owens and Stephanie McMahon in another segment with each other, it'll be too soon. I never want to ever see them in the same frame ever again. Because she made him look like a bitch. That's why. Because
that's what she does. First of all, how did she make him look like a bitch?
Because she basically took his balls, put them in a jar, and said, "Get the fuck out of here. I'm your mama now." That's what she did.
Well, because he did a stupid ass jackass move and it backfired on him.
See, but the problem with that is that you say that as if that is the only way that we could have possibly arrived at this match. And it's not. They went out of their way for Stephanie to emasculate Kevin Owens.
Did you not think it was funny when he brought out those three guys and he said, known for wearing a mask around the world, here's Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Good segment, right? Funny.
I thought it was funny that he brought all of those guys out there to be laughed at by the entire world. I thought that was funny until they actually got into the damn title match at WrestleMania. Because that's the thing that blew my mind. I'm sitting there. Right? I'm sitting there like, these guys are out here with the intention for everybody to look at them like jabronis, jamokes, geeks, jobbers. And then they end up getting put in the match.
Okay, I can understand that, and that's certainly a good point. But I don't think that's why you hate this. I think that's just a minor thing, and I agree with that.
No, that's a problem. That was a problem also. And going back to the whole thing with Stephanie and Kevin Owens, like, she basically buried the entire hell out of him, or she buried the image of what I know Kevin Owens to be. Like, he has his whole KO mania.
What did she do that is
she emasculated him. She basically made him look like a punk.
I've seen Stephanie emasculate people. What she did was hardly that. I mean, she was on the phone the whole time. She's basically like, what the hell are you talking about? Go do whatever you want. But
Yeah,
all
she
did was
dismissed him. She had the whole KO Mania thing. Oh, it's not KO Mania.
What is she
it's
gonna
WrestleMania.
What is she gonna say? Yeah, it's KO Mania.
What
You're
is
the
the
greatest
point?
guy.
What is the point of Stephanie McMahon, an authority figure, a female authority figure at that, out healing a heel champion in Kevin Owens? What's the point in that? What do we get out of that? What does that do for Kevin Owens or anybody?
Well, the point is to get him in the match with 6 other guys, and how do you do that when you have a heel authority? You have to have the heel piss him off, which is what he did. It's just a way to get from point A to point B. When you have a heel authority and you got to get a heel in a bad situation, the only way to do that is to have them at odds. Look, it's not like she kicked them in the nuts or anything. Which didn't she do that to
She
Roman
verbally
Reigns?
did. She verbally did.
And the KO Mania thing was stupid anyway. KO Mania, it's dumb. Okay, it's just dumb. It's a dumb gimmick. So I'm fine with that. It's basically another Mex America.
Oh God.
Okay, it's not that bad, but it's pretty.
This was
dumb.
bad. All of this. If I never see
Honestly,
them in a segment again, it'll be too soon.
I'm happy that Owens and Zayn are in the same match and they get to ride out that storyline a bit more. I know it's a disappointment that it's not a one-on-one match, and I would have preferred the one-on-one match too. But what we got instead isn't that bad. And yeah, it's annoying that they buried half the match on commentary, and because of what Owens said. But it's still going to be a great match, and you still have a storyline going into it between Zayn and Owens. And it doesn't mean this is going to be the last time they fight. They're probably going to fight again the pay-per-view after, and maybe the one after that too. So I'm going to buy it.
I'm selling the entire hell out of this, every bit of it. We got a comment from Tamika Burns in the live chat on youtube.com/PWF Empire. He was kissing too much ass and trying to be another Seth. Yeah, and the fact that it flopped so hard, like you didn't even have like tough Kevin Owens in there. You had ass kissy brown noser Kevin Owens, and
what
she
exactly
basically said,
did he say that was kiss assy? He basically said he was the opposite of that. He was being disrespectful to her. He was like a simpering wimp, and I don't like Kevin Owens being displayed did you not
like
like
that.
when I thought it was a good line when he said, "Your husband thinks very highly of me." You know, I mean that was a good line. He wasn't being a kiss ass.
Okay, Steven. Man, what happened to you? This little break that you went on, you used to be the guy that was all for the revolution, breaking the status quo. Now you're just towing that company line, man.
Well, look, man. After a while, you just kind of like have to accept that you're not going to get your ideal booking. And there's only so much I could bitch about that.
These are like all those Bernie Sanders supporters, like, you know what? Let's just go for Hillary. Fuck it. Fuck it. Okay. So, what do we have next on the docket? Roman Reigns and his new attitude. Now, this is a topic that you suggested, so I'm curious to see where, like, what vantage point you're coming from on the subject of Roman Reigns.
So you're not gonna argue with me with this one, right? The opening segment was cool. Was it not cool when he basically the way he grabbed her hand with such speed? Like, I barely saw that coming before he grabbed her hand, and he looked like a badass. He had a couple of cool lines, and he said his piece and he left. That's basically all we want from Roman Reigns on the mic, right? Like, we can't criticize that.
He giving me a little bit of Walter White there too when he said, "I am the authority." That reminded me when Walter White was like, what did he say? "I'm not in danger, I am the danger." So, I mean, it's very far apart, you know, because I'm pretty sure we have some Breaking Bad fans out there. Like,
I'm never
what the fuck is this guy talking about?
It's Better Call Saul, good show though. Everyone watch it.
Got to catch up on a few of the episodes. Yeah, maybe I'll watch that. Doesn't it come on during Raw? Shit, maybe I'll watch that next week.
It, though.
So yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you on saying that Roman Reigns looked like a badass.
I will say that him coming out in the entrance ramp was a bad idea. It was much cooler when he came out from the audience, and I know that's a leftover from the Shield, but I was of the opinion that was the only thing he should have kept. Like, I thought it's fine if he keeps that part. I thought he should have got rid of the theme song and everything else, but I thought the entering from the ramp was pretty cool for him, and I think it's a bad idea that they got rid of that. Especially because he still has the same song, and that's just like, when you hear that song, you expect to look at the entrance ramp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the audience, not the entrance ramp.
I'm trying to think about this whole situation with Roman Reigns. I think I've settled on what I want to happen now. Roman Reigns needs to spear Stephanie next week. He does.
Okay.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He needs to spear Stephanie. And I know people were out there talking, oh, well, it's, PC and we can't do this. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Find a way to make it happen, WWE. Find a way to make it happen. That is what needs to happen, because there needs to be something in this feud that happens that changes the status quo. And what I'm seeing right now, it's good, but it's simply not enough. And just to address someone who left a comment on the video last week, the last episode of PWF Empire Live, this person said, oh, well, you said what WWE did with Roman Reigns was right, but you're still complaining about it. You're complaining just for the sake of complaining. Here is the perfect analogy that I could have. Here's a perfect example of what it is that I'm talking about. I'm going to explain it in the most simple terms possible. If you owe me $1,000 and you pay me back $75, yes, that was the right thing to do. Yes, you technically advanced. You made progress. You took a step forward. Yes, I would prefer you giving me a little bit of what you owe versus giving me nothing at all. However, if you owe me $1,000 and you give me $75, your ass is still in debt. Roman Reigns right now is in debt. That is as simple as it is. That's it.
You think if he spears Stephanie, is that going to pay off the debt or what?
Yes. Money, 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 money.
So,
there we go.
I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, but I don't know. Okay,
I'm
so anyway, the second segment
that's what needs
with
to
Roman
happen.
Reigns. This one is a bit harder to defend because this was kind of stupid. And it wasn't stupid that he attacked Triple H. I think that's what we want to see. But I was getting... it was mostly Stephanie's fault that it was stupid. Because I was getting vibes from the whole Brie Bella, Kane, Daniel Bryan. With her screaming in the limo. Hunter,
I was a little disappointed with her, too. Because I thought she was like ride or die. Ride or die chick would have jumped out the car and, went to work on Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
so,
I think she kind of ruined that segment. And it was just a little bit corny how the thing opened up and then he's standing there like, first of all, how the hell did he know that they would be there? Second of all, what was his plan exactly? But this wasn't bad. I don't think it took anything away. It was kind of hokey, but he certainly seems like a maniac right now, and he's doing a lot to differentiate himself from Cena, which I like. I like when he does things that Cena wouldn't do because I don't like the overlap. I don't want them to make him another Cena. And right now he doesn't seem like Cena. Cena wouldn't be this crazy. He wouldn't be this pissed off, first of all. He'd be smiling and shit. And he wouldn't be attacking officials, probably.
And that's very important, but I think that something dramatic needs to happen. Like, I think what they're doing right now, it's good, but once again, it's not enough. I need $1,000. I need you to go over that damn limit. Hell, I want you to pay me back in full plus interest. That's what I want, and that comes in the form of spearing Stephanie. Because if you want to prove to me,
left, so let's give him...
No, there's only one. We have next episode of Monday Night Raw is the last one before WrestleMania.
That's not true.
It is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
Wow. Yes, it is. See, this is why I'm going so crazy about this, like demanding like we make moves right now, because we have very limited time, and it's like the closer we get to WrestleMania, the less time you have available, the less impact that what you do, could possibly make. So we need to go above and beyond. Like, I want to see something big out of Roman Reigns. If you want to convince me that this guy is a maniac, if you want to convince me that this guy is different from John Cena, if you want to convince me that this guy is different from the Roman Reigns that we saw at TLC, I need to see something different. And spearing Stephanie, that'll be it. Like, I need to see it.
All right.
Okay, what do we have next here? Dean Ambrose and his tour through the Hall of Horrors. So, Dean Ambrose has been calling in a few assists lately on WWE TV. We had Mick Foley last week giving him a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. And this week, we had Chainsaw Charlie, a.k.a. Terry Funk, in the city of Philadelphia. I guess him and Dean Ambrose were in a tavern, and he handed Dean Ambrose a chainsaw, and he used that chainsaw to go to work on a table there. So, it's clear that...
Is he really going to bring out a chainsaw, do you think? At this point, I feel like he has to, right? Because that's what they're doing. Is like they're giving them these weapons.
See, here's the thing. Like I said last week that they were setting the bar very high, and I needed WWE to make sure that Dean Ambrose lived up to the expectations that they were setting. I'm not even going to put that wild expectation on them. Like, Dean Ambrose using a fucking chainsaw. Like, I'm not even going to put that one on you guys. I'll give you a pass on that one. But do you buy or sell Dean Ambrose in this tour through the Hall of Horrors?
I buy it. I think this is the match I'm most excited for. I want to see Ambrose versus Lesnar. And I'm worried that it will end stupidly. But that's another story. As far as the build-up goes, it's been really good. I would prefer if Lesnar was around more and doing more of what I saw when he stepped on Dean's head. I thought that was such a great moment because it showed like how far, like what Lesnar really thinks of this guy. He's just a bug. Mm-hmm. And Ambrose is a true underdog here. Like, he really has a hill to climb. And that makes me excited because I don't know if Ambrose is going to win. I really want him to. I really want him to get a clean win. Because Lesnar's been riding this Undertaker momentum. He beat Undertaker clean at WrestleMania. He beat John Cena clean. He still has all this momentum. And yeah, it's been kind of muddied from a few strange booking decisions. But still, he's never been pinned clean since that time. Every time he's lost, it's been from some stupid technicality. Whether it's the Undertaker having a strange, making him pass out after a strange series of events, or just Rollins coming in, cashing in. He still hasn't lost clean, so there's still that to give to Ambrose. And I think if they give it to him, I think that'd be a good decision, especially because it's no holds barred, so it's not going to hurt Lesnar too much if you do have Ambrose win. And I think the build's been good. Like I said, I wish Lesnar was on more. It's a strange decision to me to have him on SmackDown. I'm starting to think that they take SmackDown more seriously than we think they do. Because
I've noticed that.
They keep busting out all the stuff on SmackDown that's making me want to watch SmackDown. And I'm starting to think maybe I should be watching SmackDown because I think they do build up the feuds on there. I think we got to rethink SmackDown because we give it a lot of shit, but they're bringing Lesnar on there, so...
You know who gives SmackDown a lot of shit? The head writer of SmackDown. He's the one who gives it a lot of shit. And he's put them in the position where they are right now, where I'm not going to watch that show until he is out of there. So when...
Wasn't he... Who was that? Isn't that the guy who wrote for NXT?
Oh, no. He's coming after WrestleMania, and that's when I'll start watching. Now it's Road Dogg. So after WrestleMania, I'll start watching SmackDown. Is
Road Dogg the head writer? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, the same guy who said wins and losses don't matter. The same guy who said no matter how shitty the product is, you'll keep coming back. That Road Dogg.
Yeah, that's kind of a douchey.
So, so for Dean Ambrose, I am going to buy...
Right. About the second part, anyway.
Well, I don't know. I've only watched one episode of SmackDown under his tutelage, so, until he's gone, I ain't coming back. So, But Dean Ambrose, I'm going to buy the hell out of what I'm seeing from Dean Ambrose. I like the way the WWE mixed up things with his segment. That's one of the things that is really lacking this WrestleMania season, the creativity that we usually see. We used to see people go out and explore things, and now basically what we get is match. Somebody comes out to the ring, cuts a promo. Match. Somebody comes out to the ring, cuts a promo. Like, that's how most of the WrestleMania feuds are being built up. No creativity or nothing at all. But I'm glad to see that we got a little bit of that from Dean Ambrose in this segment. And this is one thing that I've wanted from Dean Ambrose for a very long time, for him to actually explore his lunacy. I keep hearing about how this guy is a lunatic, but we don't get to see it that often on WWE TV. Now we're at a point in time where we are actually getting to see that, and they're putting more effort into showing it on TV, him expressing that crazy side of his, because there used to be a point where it's like, shit, they put more effort into coming up with merchandise ideas for Lunatic Fringe than they did actually booking the character to be that way on TV. So now that we're getting that, I'm liking Dean Ambrose, I'm liking this build, and this is a match that I am excited to see at WrestleMania, and WWE hasn't done too much to ruin it. So yeah. Next up, Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles. Now, there were some people who had reservations about this feud, seeing as we've seen many matches between these two already, and some people, I guess they would have said it would have been a tough sell going into another match with these guys and having this be the WrestleMania feud for AJ Styles coming to WWE. With everything that's been happening with these two, do you buy or sell the way that they're building? Well, of course you buy it. You buy everything for WrestleMania.
I do buy it. I think this is a good feud. I think it's been... There's a progression, and this is one of those rare feuds that's been built over several months, and you could actually see the progression. You could actually look, and you could see the development from Jericho in particular, and I do think it's working. I think it's getting Styles over. The only caveat that I have is I think this whole saying the chant thing is stupid. When Jericho comes out, it's AJ Styles. It's just dumb. But I think heel Jericho is someone I really love, even though he's not exactly doing the Y2 Serious gimmick. He still has hints of that. He does his catchphrases. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now, and so on. I do buy it, and I think it's been a good week-to-week feud, and I feel like this has been written by Jericho, because this seems like a Jericho feud. When you look at Jericho's feuds, like the ones he had with Michaels, which obviously this one doesn't compare, but the ones he had with Michaels, the one he has with CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, these sort of personal, like, vendetta feuds that he gets into, this feels like one of those. And this one is not as good as those, but it's a mid-card match, and those ones are main event matches, so...
We got a comment from Charlie in the chat saying, Charlie in the chat, that had a nice flow to it. Aside from the fact that they did about 13 months of angles in 3 weeks, this has been good enough. Yeah, I guess I'll buy this also, although I kind of hinted at this early on in the show. One point that I did not like was, and understand, stuff like this has to happen, but just making AJ Styles look like an idiot, because you had AJ Styles get distracted, and then he gets rolled up by Kevin Owens, and then same thing happens with Chris Jericho later on in the night, but he actually is, intelligent enough to not let that get to him. I don't know if that's
Fandango,
a thing.
So it's a bit different.
I mean, a roll-up is a roll-up, though. Like,
it's a bit of a different caliber of opponent.
Maybe he needs to work on them arms then. Maybe that's it. Fandango, do some more push-ups and stuff. But, yeah, I guess this could be interpreted in a way that AJ Styles isn't familiar with the WWE way of doing things. Like, this is their way of incorporating, you're the new kid on the block, into what's happening, and he's not familiar with stuff like that. But didn't this guy spend like a decade in TNA? Like, he should see fuckery coming from a mile away.
No, he spent a decade in Florida.
Wrestling Kurt Angle in Florida, just like, in the parking lot in Walmart. Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, like, but you should be, knowing your past, AJ, you should be able to sense, BS. You should be able to sense shenanigans. That's all I'm saying.
The only thing is, I don't know how they're gonna distinguish this match. Are they gonna give it a stipulation? Because we already have a street fight. I don't know what they could give it. It can't be a submission match because AJ already made Jericho tap out, so kind of blew that one. I don't know. I'm not really sure. How is it gonna be a straight singles match again? Because I think that's a bit of a disappointment if it is.
There hasn't been anything announced so far. And technically, the match isn't even official yet. I read that somewhere saying that they made it a point to say that the match is not official yet. But I mean, we know it's gonna happen. It's just that we have to arrive at that point through storyline. Maybe we got to watch SmackDown for that too. Who knows?
Maybe.
Okay. Shane McMahon and The Undertaker, the build for this feud. So, on Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon comes out to the ring and he makes this announcement they have been promoting all throughout the night. This big bombshell announcement that's going to change the course of WWE, change the course of WrestleMania. And the announcement that he makes is that if The Undertaker does not win at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell versus Shane McMahon, this will be his last WrestleMania. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but I sat there and I was kind of confused by what was going on, because let me translate Vince's comments in case anybody didn't get it. If you do not stop my son from taking my power away from me, I am going to use that power that my son took away from me to make sure that this is your last match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
What?
Makes no sense.
How is that going to happen? Like, shit, are you going to go there in the middle of the 3 count? Like, you know, because that was 2 7/8. Like, are you going to go there at 2 7/8 while the referee's hand is coming down for 3 and say, oh, you're done, The Undertaker, last match at WrestleMania? Like, how are you going to enforce that? Because how can you use the power that he's taking away from you to... I don't know. Are you going to defend this one, Steven? Or, like, what are you...
No, because that makes no sense. But there are ways to make it make sense, but they've already kind of cornered themselves. Because I was going to say, the stipulation is only that he gains control of Raw, so Vince technically still has some power. But then Vince keeps saying that Shane is going to put him to the side, so apparently Shane's going to have
Yeah, because he specifically said on Raw, like, this could be the very last time that you see me, or something like that.
Yeah, so really it makes no sense. If it did make sense, I would buy it, because I think adding that stipulation helps it, but it doesn't really make sense. I think at this point, that gives away the ending. I think this is going to be Taker's last match, and I think he's going to lay down. I'm starting to think that's how it's going to end. I think he's going to say, no, bitch, I'm not your bitch. If I'm going out my way, and he goes out by taking down Vince. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard because it's such an anticlimactic ending, but it poetically it makes sense to me. I think that'd be a cool sort of ending.
You know, I'm all for the poetic stuff when it comes to The Undertaker. You know, I have that.
Yeah, I know that. You know. but
but
execution wise, kind of anticlimactic. You know. So I don't know. They're gonna have to pull it off somehow. But I think that kind of gives away the ending to me, because if you're gonna add that stipulation. First of all, it seems like Taker's done anyway. It seems like, who else is he going to fight? I guess he could have one more match. I don't know.
Sting is still holding on by a thread there.
Yeah, didn't Sting say he's not retiring? Actually, I was thinking maybe Sting would interfere and cost Taker the match and then have him versus Sting next year, but then they added this stipulation. So I don't know.
Let's see. We did get a comment from, I believe it was Paul on Twitter. Yep. Saying, am I the only one who thinks Vince's new stipulation to the Shane vs. Taker changes its predictability? Well, according to Steven, like, this gives away the ending. So, I mean, going from predictable to, like, very predictable, technically that changes something.
But it's still, to me, it doesn't ruin it, because I still don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like, I really don't know. In fact, I'm really curious how it's going to end. And I could still see...
Yeah, I've said many times before, like, when it comes to predictability, I don't care that much for it. Like, I know this match is going to be a very wild ride, and I'm down for it.
I just feel like it could very well be Taker's last match, because... First of all, he's the sort of guy who would job on the way out. Second, we've seen these abrupt Taker things before where he just loses the streak with no fanfare. So it could very well be that you just have your last match with minimal fanfare. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And also they keep building up Shane, so I don't... Like I mentioned last week, if they don't deliver on this Shane thing, then you kind of just fucked with your entire audience for 4 weeks.
And can I say that I really liked what they did with the build-up for this match, having other people talk for Shane McMahon. That was very effective for me, because I've noticed tying this conversation back to the one that we had earlier on in the show, how Monday Night Raw it's getting me less excited for WrestleMania. I realized that the more I see Shane McMahon, the less I care. And it's crazy. I don't know how we arrived at this. Well, I know how we arrived at this point, you know. But
one segment ruined it for you.
It was not one segment. I went back and I realized that this was not like, it wasn't like he fell to where he is right now. He stepped down, you know, every week. So the thing is, like, with Shane McMahon, I'm caught up in like I guess this is where the WrestleMania aura comes into play, because when Shane McMahon came back to WWE with great fanfare, that was awesome. But the more I see him, the more he becomes a man, the more he becomes immortal, and the less I see this idea, this presence that is Shane McMahon. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but it's like,
yeah, it does.
Shane is like this great hope in WWE, and the more I see him, the more like mortal he becomes. So I like the myth of Shane McMahon, and we got a chance to see the myth of Shane McMahon in all of those video packages on Raw, and I appreciated that. Okay, what else do we have here?
I will say one more thing before we move on. It does help the Undertaker's motivation, because a lot of people were saying, why would the Undertaker fight this match? Well, now you kind of have a concrete reason.
Okay, we have a comment from Anthony. Wouldn't it be kind of, on Twitter with the hashtag PWF Empire, wouldn't it be kind of weird having Shane McMahon be the one to end Undertaker's career? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Very weird.
But if you think about it, yeah, Shane McMahon's the one to do it, but it's a lot about Vince too. It's not just Shane. Vince is involved, and especially if you do it the way I said, if Undertaker fucks Vince over, I think that's a really poetic ending, because Undertaker has always been, because Vince keeps saying that Undertaker is his instrument of destruction, right? And even though we haven't seen Taker and Vince on the same page since the Ministry of Darkness, was that the last time? Maybe sometime during the Alliance. It still feels like that, because we know the backstage relationship that they have. Everyone knows that Undertaker is a company guy. He will do whatever Vince says. We all know that Vince made the call for him to lose to Brock Lesnar. And even though that's not a part of the feud in kayfabe, there's still that feeling. And this is sort of what I talked about a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but when we had these conversations about like the new kayfabe, there's still this feeling among fans, even though it's not part of kayfabe, that the Undertaker is Vince's bitch. He will do what Vince says. So when he says that the Undertaker is his instrument of destruction, even though that hasn't played out in the storyline for years, we know that backstage that's kind of true. Undertaker is always the guy that Vince will pull out of his hat. He's the guy who Vince could always rely on to come into big matches. He just did it for SummerSlam last year. When you needed a big match, here we pull out the Undertaker. So this is who the Undertaker is. So it would be very poetic for the Undertaker to lose by freeing himself from the shackles of Vince McMahon and laying down for Shane to win. So I think if that were to be the ending, that'd be a pretty cool ending. Even though I'm thinking about
this now, and like a lot of thoughts are coming to my mind because with Vince calling, like, because I can't see the Undertaker just accepting the fact that Vince is calling him his bitch and letting that be the end of it. Like, he somehow, some way, he has to get back at Vince based off of that. And with him calling him his instrument of destruction, what if that destruction like blows up in his face? And if it goes down the way that you're saying right now, the only way that I can see this working is if this is legitimately the end of the character Vince McMahon, and maybe even the end of the Undertaker, period. It's kind of like Undertaker self-destructs and he blows up Vince right along with him, and we don't see these people ever again, because that's the only way that I can see it work.
Well,
like,
I think that's a bit of a high standard, because Vince, even if Vince goes away, which he might, he's always going to come back unless he's dead.
No, if it's going down the way that you're outlining it right now, this has to be the end, because you can't BS around on this one and have an ending of that. Have the ending be that way, and then Vince pops up, a few months or maybe even a year or two down the line, like, oh, hey, everybody, I'm back. Like, no, this has to be the death of the character, Mr. McMahon.
Well, yeah, but in that, look, I'm on board with that. I just think that's an unrealistic standard to have. I think it will be a success as long as Vince stays off TV for a few years. Like, if he comes back in 5 years, still fine. If he comes back in 4 years, still fine. But, as long as they sell the fact that The Undertaker took out Vince McMahon, I think that's okay. But to say he would never come back, is that the only way you'll buy it, I think is just unrealistic. Because, wrestling, doesn't matter what storylines happen, they're always going to negate what happened. And to some degree, we have to live with that, because things are always changing, and we enjoy the moment, and then we let them tell a new story. So, I'm fine with them just selling it for a little while, and I wouldn't expect Vince to be gone forever. But yeah, there's a lot riding on this match out of character. You gotta, if Shane wins, they gotta do some big changes. So yeah, they could very well see this as the end of Vince. It could be the end of the Undertaker. And that wouldn't necessarily mean we never see those characters again, but it might mean that, yeah, it's the Undertaker's last match or the last WrestleMania, and it might be the end of Vince as an on-screen authority. But yeah, if he were to go out that way, I think it'd be a really good ending for the Undertaker. But as long as they execute it properly, because it can't just be like, I'm thinking of how it would look if they're just having this match and then all of a sudden Taker just lies down. That's gonna look pretty dumb. So if Taker does lie down, it's gonna have to be a pretty dramatic execution. And I don't exactly know how that would work, but they would have to figure that out somehow.
Okay, let's go to some of the comments that we've received on Twitter. We asked for topic suggestions earlier, and these are some of the responses that we got. From Chris Arnett, talk about NXT TakeOver Dallas, April 1st. I'm very excited about this show. I'm looking over the card right now. Got some great matches here. Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin. The Revival versus American Alpha for the tag titles. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Bayley versus Asuka. One of my most anticipated matches for WrestleMania weekend right there. Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. So we have some great potential matchups on the card, and then we also have Apollo Crews versus Elias Sampson. You guys like how I did that there? I talked about the great matches, and then that one. Okay, there was this one very interesting comment that I got earlier. This is from Kyle, or I guess not Kyle. So not Kyle. He wanted us to talk about the ethics of booing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I asked for details on this one because I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So
I think
he sent me a message back. And he says, people like me like Roman Reigns. But at WrestleMania, people like him would boo Roman Reigns to piss off Vince and the bookers. Ethical of fans to use Roman Reigns to get at Vince. This is so terrible. This is
I know exactly what that means, yeah.
But I mean, what can you do about it? Well, shit, I'll be at WrestleMania, so I could do something about it. But I mean, like, what can I do in this moment right now where I sit here and say, that's absolutely terrible. Shame on you. I'm wagging my finger, the wagging finger of shame. You stop that. That's unfair. Like, what can we possibly do in a situation like this? Because I think it's real fucked up.
Yeah. The word ethical is a bit strange. To me, it's not an ethical matter. You could boo whoever the fuck you want. But I think it's kind of jerky, honestly, because I think, this is my feeling, and I could be wrong, because I don't know for sure, but I feel like the people who are booing Reigns are not really booing Reigns. They're booing something. They're booing Vince. They're booing Cena.
They're booing something.
I almost feel like they're booing John Cena when they boo Reigns. Like, I feel like they're just riding the wave of John Cena hate, and Reigns is just the inheritor of the boos. So that's what you do. And, like, I'm fine if they want to boo Reigns because they really don't like him. But I get this feeling that they're just booing Reigns because they resent the fact that he's going to be the next top babyface, and they're not giving him a chance, and it's kind of just ruining things for me. Like, I'd be a lot more excited for Reigns if the crowd was, you know, if the crowd was going nuts when Reigns is doing the cool things that he's doing, it'd be a lot better, because the crowd really makes or breaks these moments. So I don't think it's an ethical matter. I'm not gonna say you can't boo him, but first of all, it's not gonna work. It's stupid. We know how this works. We've been trying this for the past several years, and it doesn't change much when you boo the top babyface.
Here's the problem, though. John Cena is already established, and it's not as if he was getting the same reaction from the crowd now as he was when he was in the same position that Roman Reigns is in his career. It's a completely different scenario. Like with John Cena, they're saying, okay, we want him out of that spot. But shit, he's already there. He's solidified in that spot. There's not much that you can do about that. What they're trying to do with Roman Reigns is saying, we're going to be obstructionists and we're going to put a stop to him before he ever gets there. And that's the fucked up part for me. And this situation is so complicated because it's like I'm sitting here defending Roman Reigns against the crowd while at the very same time expressing my frustrations with the way in which he's booked. And it's like you're getting the battle from both sides, and
I feel like it's insincere. That's why I'm so upset about it, because it's insincere. Because I remember when Roman Reigns was getting cheered. I remember when he was in the Shield, and he was the most over member of the Shield for a stretch.
Yes. Can we go ahead and play? I would like to state that for the record. Roman Reigns was the most over member of the Shield. I remember that episode of Monday Night Raw where CM Punk was in the ring with the Shield, and he was talking about facing the best guy in the Shield, the top guy of the group, and the crowd started chanting for Roman Reigns. So, because I know a lot of people love to do that revisionist history. Like, let's not go ahead and ignore the fact that Roman Reigns was the most over guy in the group. The Survivor Series win and
the Royal Rumble performance. Remember when Roman Reigns and Batista were the last two guys, and the crowd desperately wanted Reigns to win? Like, I remember all this. I don't forget this stuff. And so, they've already said, and I know I don't like speaking of the audience as a collective. I know there's just individuals, but generally speaking,
no, it's the crowd, you know.
No,
capital T, capital C.
I'm no collectivist. You mean the WWE universe, by the way? They're not a crowd, but
towing that company line.
Like, I feel like if you've already said that you're fine with Reigns being the top guy, and if that's the case, if all you have a problem with is the booking, then you could boo him when he's doing stupid shit, but when he's being cool, like you wanted him to be a badass, and now he's being a badass, and you still boo him, just kind of seem a little bit insincere and a little bit like you're just being a rebel. Like, you don't like the fact that Vince McMahon wants Reigns to be the top guy too, even though you did a few years ago in 2013. But now that Vince is on board with you guys and everyone's on the same page, suddenly it's a different story. And yeah, I know Reigns has been booked kind of stupidly, but still, we all know the potential that Reigns has, so it's nothing about him. It's just the booking. So in that case, you shouldn't cheer him. You shouldn't boo him when he's being booked properly, which he has been, I think, for a bit. That's my take on it.
24 hours?
No, man. He beat up Triple H. He made him bleed. That was cool. The whole segment he had on Raw with Stephanie was cool. The backstage one with the car was kind of hokey, but it wasn't bad,
yeah, that's included in the 24 hours. That stuff.
Okay, either way, they still booed him, and they're being rebels about it, and it's kind of annoying. But I don't want to be the guy who says that they can't boo what they want to boo, because I've been there. I've been the guy booing the top guy. So.
You see, it's them expressing their rights as fans to boo Roman Reigns, whether I agree with it or not, and it's me expressing my right as a fan to call them assholes because of it. So, yeah. But, I mean, what can you do about that? Because everything that you said, like you said, it's unfair and it's, it's this and it's that. I'm quite sure that they know all of those things. They know it. And there are some people out there who may try to convince themselves that it's otherwise. Like they have this thing called a confirmation bias going on where I made up my mind about him, and everything that I see that comes from him from this point on, I'm going to twist it, flip it, and mold it into the point where it confirms my already held beliefs about him. So, yeah, you do have people like that out there.
Let me read a tweet. This is what Lance Storm says, and this is exactly right. He said, this is when Reigns came out against Stephanie. He said, the crowd is instinctively popping for Roman and then catching themselves and booing. And that's exactly what happened. I heard that, too. It was like a very brief pop, and then, oh, wait, we don't like Roman Reigns. Because I know they like Roman Reigns. I've seen it. So you can't just embrace it. He's cool. He's kind of booked badly, but it's okay. You don't look like a jackass by cheering Reigns. And it's more fun that way. It's more fun when you're not so bitter about it. And like, I'm not saying pretend to like Reigns just to make yourself feel better, but if you're not giving him a chance, I think you really should, because it's gonna make your life less miserable, because Reigns is here to stay. He's gonna be the top guy. And whether you like it or not, so you might as well try to like him.
Okay, we got a comment from Leo on Twitter. Do you believe that NXT TakeOver Dallas will be a better show than WrestleMania this year? Well, see, here's the thing about that. I can't believe that, because I actually got tickets to WrestleMania and I wasn't able to get tickets to TakeOver because those fucking marks who were like buy the tickets and triple the price on the secondary market. So fuck all of you. But WrestleMania is going to be the better show just because of that.
Maybe you should check it again, because if they try to triple the price, they're going to have a hard time selling them, and they're going to have to drop the price eventually.
Yeah, Charlie has been checking. The price dropped by I think $20. And my hope was that it dropped by $20 every day, but it was like that first time it happened, and then that's it. So hopefully they don't sell, and like that Friday when we get there, somebody is like desperate, like, here, take these, and bam, there we go.
I think you have a good chance of getting it.
I hope so.
By the way, I don't think it's going to be a better show. I think WrestleMania will be better.
I hope so. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. That's it for this episode of PWF Empire Live. We will be back next week, I believe, after Monday Night Raw, since that's the last episode before WrestleMania, to deliver our preview of WrestleMania 32. Man, long trek, but we're almost at our destination. Thank you guys for joining us on this road trip. Hopefully you'll be back next week right here on youtube.com/PWF Empire and PWFempire.com. Any closing comments, Steven?
Be more optimistic, because it's not as bad as you think it is. It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's no Miz versus Cena. It's no Batista versus Orton, and that's my standard these days.
You know, I used to be like a big Miz fan. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna.
Well, look,
go
I'm
any
still a
further
Miz
into
fan,
that.
but look, let's be honest. He never had any business being in the main event of WrestleMania ever.
Look, I used to be a really big Miz fan, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
You wanted him to be in the main event?
Look, I used to be a really, really big Miz fan, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you guys for tuning in to PWF Empire Live. Peace out.